The unforgettable disappearance of Rachel Whitmore, Kalispell, Montana, 1998. On a wind-swept October evening in 1998, 17-year-old Rachel Whitmore vanished along a Tulane logging road just outside Kalispell, Montana. No tire tracks, no witnesses, no trace. Before we dive in, if you enjoy chilling true stories and unsettling mysteries, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you know when new videos are available. Kalispell, nestled in the northwestern shadow of Glacier National Park, is a kind of place that keeps its secrets well. In the fall, when the tamaracks turn gold and the air sharpens with the first hint of snow, the valley grows quiet. Locals hunker down, hunters head into the woods, and the tourists go home. By late October, the days are short, the nights longer still, and the wilderness presses in on all sides. Rachel Whitmore was born and raised in Kalispell. A senior at Flathead High School, she was known for her quiet intelligence and soft-spoken demeanor. She played cello in the school orchestra, worked weekends at a local diner, and had plans to attend the University of Washington the following year to study environmental science. Rachel wasn't the type to make waves. She didn't party, didn't get into trouble. By all accounts, she was a grounded, responsible, and steady individual. But in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, friends and family noticed subtle changes. Rachel had grown more withdrawn. She'd recently broken up with her longtime boyfriend, Ian Greaves. Those sources close to her said it was amicable. She was seen frequently hiking alone, something she'd always done, but now more often and farther out. Her journals, recovered later from her bedroom, revealed nothing alarming, just musings about college, growing up, and an increasing desire to disconnect from the noise. On Thursday, October 15th, 1998, Rachel left school just before noon, excused under a note that appeared to be signed by her mother. Her mother, Kathleen Whitmore, would later tell police she never wrote that note. Rachel never returned home. Surveillance footage from the school's parking lot showed Rachel walking calmly to her beat-up 1985 Subaru GL. She got in alone. She wasn't seen again. Later that evening, around 6:40 p.m., a Kalispell Parks and Recreation ranger discovered Rachel's Subaru parked on a turnout near Tally Lake Road, a remote logging path about 25 miles west of town. The car was locked. Inside, nothing seemed out of place. Her backpack was in the passenger seat. Her wallet and keys were missing. There was no sign of a struggle. The temperature had already dropped into the 30s that night, and frost would coat the forest floor by morning. A local search and rescue team was mobilized by dawn. They combed the woods for 3 days, dogs, ATVs, helicopters, no sign of Rachel. No clothing, no footprints, nothing. The forest in that part of Flathead County is dense and unforgiving. Lodgepole pines crowd the hillsides. Logging roads crisscross for miles, many of them unmarked or long abandoned. Locals know better than to wander far without a map or a compass. Detective Martin Greeley with the Flathead County Sheriff's Department took the lead on what became case file #98, KF147RW. He described the early days of the investigation as particularly frustrating. Rachel's car had no usable prints beyond her own. Her friends couldn't point to anyone she might have been meeting. There were no confirmed sightings of her after she left school. No evidence of foul play, but also nothing to suggest she walked off willingly. In an interview recorded in 2002 for a local documentary project, Greeley reflected on those first few weeks. It was like chasing vapor. Every path led nowhere. We weren't even sure we were looking in the right direction, literally or figuratively. Rachel's home life appeared stable. Her parents, Kathleen and John Whitmore, had lived in Kalispell for over 20 years. They ran a small real estate office and were active in the community. Her younger brother, Tyler, was 14 at the time. The Whitmores were known as a loving, close-knit family. There were no domestic calls, no financial stressors, nothing out of the ordinary. What struck investigators most was the precision of the scene. Rachel's car was locked, parked cleanly at the edge of a known trailhead, facing toward town. No mud on the tires, no items left scattered. Her phone, an old Nokia model, was never recovered, but cell reception was poor in the area, and records showed no outgoing calls after 12:08 p.m. when she texted her friend Madison Klein, heading up for a hike, need to clear my head. It was the last anyone heard from her. Several theories emerged, none of which fully satisfied the community. Theory 1, voluntary disappearance. Some believed Rachel staged her vanishing. She had recently expressed feelings of restlessness and isolation. Her journal included a quote from Henry David Thoreau, "I went to woods because I wished to live deliberately." Investigators took this seriously. But Rachel had no history of running away, no known connections outside Kalispell, and had left her bank account untouched. Not a single credible sighting came from anywhere in the Pacific Northwest or beyond. If she had run, she'd have vanished clean. Theory 2, foul play. Others were convinced she had been abducted, possibly by someone who knew the area. The turnout where a car was found is a known logging route, used by hunters, forest workers, and locals. The absence of struggle, the intact interior of the vehicle, and the missing keys led some to speculate that Rachel may have willingly exited her vehicle, only to encounter the wrong person at the wrong time. But with no forensic evidence, no prints, no hair, no blood, this theory remained frustratingly speculative. Theory 3, accidental death. Searchers considered the possibility that Rachel had gotten lost and succumbed to exposure. But despite an exhaustive search radius extending 10 miles from her car, nothing was ever found. Not even a scarf. Not even a footprint. The trail she may have intended to hike, Lone Pine Ridge Trail, is steep, remote, and sparsely traveled in the off-season. In October, snow flurries are common, and weather conditions can shift dramatically within a matter of hours. But the landscape eventually yields its secrets. In cases of accidental death, remains are typically found within the first year. Rachel's disappearance remained absolute. In January 1999, a tip came in from a hunter claiming he saw a young woman matching Rachel's description walking along a decommissioned fire road about 8 miles north of Tally Lake, near Goat Creek. He said she appeared dazed, barefoot, and alone. But when he circled back a few minutes later, she was gone. A follow-up search revealed no tracks, no personal items, and no further witnesses. The sighting was never confirmed. As months turned to years, the case grew cold. Leads dried up. The Whitmore family offered a $25,000 reward, later increased to $40,000. Flyers were mailed statewide. The story was featured on regional news outlets and eventually gained attention from a national missing persons advocacy group. But time, as it often does, eroded public focus. Rachel's bedroom remained untouched until her parents moved in 2005. Her cello sat silent in the corner. Her bookshelf still held a novel she loved, A Wrinkle in Time, The Secret History, and Into the Wild. Her younger brother, Tyler, now an adult, recalled in a 2015 interview, "It's like she was erased, like she stepped through a door we couldn't see. One moment she was here, and the next she wasn't." As of 2025, case #98, KF147, RW remains open but inactive. There have been no new leads in over a decade. Rachel Whitmore's DNA and dental records are registered with the National Missing and Unidentified Person System, NAMUS. Her case is periodically reviewed by Flathead County's Cold Case Division, though resources are limited. She would be 44 years old today. The mystery of Rachel's disappearance continues to haunt the valley. Ask any longtime Kalispell resident, and they'll remember the flyers, the search parties, the unease that settled over community, like a fog that October. They'll tell you it changed something, made the woods feel different, heavier. Some say she simply got lost. Others believe she walked into the forest that day to meet someone. And some, even now, whisper about things you don't talk about on record. Strange sightings, a history of disappearances in the Tally Lake region, a presence in the trees. But all of that is speculation. What we know is this. On October 15th, 1998, Rachel Whitmore left school, drove into the woods west of Kalispell, and was never seen again. What happened after that remains one of Montana's most enduring mysteries. October 15th, 1998, began like any other Thursday in Kalispell, cold, quiet, and gray. The first frost of the season had settled overnight, and the town woke to a thin veil of mist clinging to the foothills. By mid-morning, By mid-morning, temperatures hovered in the low 40s. There was no sign that anything extraordinary was about to happen. But by the time the sun dipped below the jagged skyline of the Flathead Range, 17-year-old Rachel Whitmore was gone. What follows is a chronological reconstruction of the known events from that day, pieced together from interviews, timestamp surveillance, cell tower logs, and law enforcement reports compiled under case file #98 KF147RW. Morning, 7:15 a.m. to 11:57 a.m. 7:15 a.m., home, Kalispell. Rachel Whitmore was seen leaving her family's modest ranch-style home on the southern edge of Kalispell. Her mother, Kathleen, reported nothing out of the ordinary. Rachel had a thermos of coffee in one hand and her cello case slung over her other shoulder. She wore a green knit sweater, faded jeans, and hiking boots. She kissed me on the cheek, said she'd be home for dinner, Kathleen later told detectives. She was quiet, not sad, just thoughtful. 8:05 a.m., Flathead High School. Rachel arrived at school and attended her first two classes, advanced biology and English literature. Teachers described her as attentive but somewhat subdued. 10:38 a.m., counseling office visit. Records indicate that Rachel checked in with the school counselor, Ms. Evelyn Marner, to request an unofficial copy of her transcript. When asked why, Rachel reportedly said, "Just planning things. I might apply somewhere else." This comment surprised Ms. Marner. Rachel had already committed to University of Washington. 11:16 a.m., cafeteria hallway surveillance. Footage from a security camera showed Rachel walking briskly down the corridor toward the school's side exit. She wasn't carrying her backpack, only a lightweight day pack and her phone in her hand. She paused once, looked over her shoulder, and then walked out. 11:28 a.m., school parking lot. Rachel was last seen on video unlocking her 1985 Subaru GL. She got in and drove off alone. The footage was grainy, but no one else appeared in the frame. Afternoon, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. 12:08 p.m., final text message. Rachel sent a text to her friend Madison Klein. Heading up for a hike. Need to clear my head. That was the last activity on her phone. Cell tower pings placed her moving westward along U.S. Route 2 toward Tally Lake Road. After 12:17 p.m., her signal vanished. 1:03 p.m., vehicle spotted near turnout. A Parks and Recreation staffer named Henry Field, performing routine trail maintenance, passed a blue Subaru parked at the turnout off Tally Lake Road. He didn't think much of it at the time, but later confirmed the vehicle matched Rachel's. It wasn't unusual to see a car there. Some people still hike in October. But it was too clean. No mud on the tires, like it had just arrived. 3:44 p.m., missed cello rehearsal. Rachel failed to show up for after-school orchestra rehearsal, something she'd never done without warning. The school contacted her at home. Her mother assumed she was delayed or possibly with friends. 5:12 p.m., unanswered call to Rachel's phone. Her father, John Whitmore, called her cell. It rang 5 times before going to voicemail. He left a message. Just checking in. Let us know if you're running late. 6:41 p.m., Ranger Discovery. At sunset, the same Ranger, Henry Field, returned from his trail loop and noticed the Subaru was still there. Concerned by the length of time, he approached and radioed dispatch. The Flathead County Sheriff's Department was notified by 7:10 p.m. Evening response, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. 7:35 p.m., first responders arrive. Deputy Carla Van arrived on the scene. Rachel's vehicle was locked. No signs of forced entry. The passenger seat contained a folded trail map and a paperback novel, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. No purse, no jacket, no cell phone. A perimeter sweep revealed no footprints, discarded items, or drag marks. 9:10 p.m., Whitmore family notified. Detectives arrived at the Whitmore residence to inform the family. Kathleen reportedly collapsed upon hearing the news. John immediately requested to join the search. He was advised to stay home in case Rachel returned. Search efforts began. October 16, 1998, day 1 of search. By morning, SAR teams from Flathead County had been deployed, with assistance from personnel at Glacier National Park. A 10-mile radius around the turnout was combed by foot, canine units, and aerial surveillance. Nothing. October 17th to 19th, days 2 through 4. Search expanded. Drones were not yet common in 1998, but helicopters were equipped with thermal imaging capabilities. No heat signatures were detected. Dogs picked up a faint trail from the car leading northwest, but lost the scent after 300 yards. She either doubled back into a vehicle or disappeared into thin air, said SAR Commander Dale Madsen. No physical evidence was recovered. No phone, no boot prints, no torn clothing. Investigation and early leads. Detective Martin Greeley of the Flathead County Sheriff's Office officially declared the case a missing persons investigation on October 17th. The file was designated #98, KF147RW. Unusual elements. A forged early dismissal note was found in Rachel's file. Her mother insisted she never wrote it. Rachel's bank account remained untouched. The school counselor noted that Rachel had inquired about going somewhere quiet just days earlier. Her day pack, later found in the car, had no hiking supplies, just a journal and a granola bar. Public reaction and media attention. Local media covered the story on the evening of October 16th, with regional outlets such as KPXTV and the Daily Interlake leading the coverage. As the days stretched on, the story reached national attention via Dateline NBC and America's Most Wanted, though no breakthroughs followed. Flyers with Rachel's face were posted from Spokane to Billings. Candlelight vigils were held at Flathead High. The Whitmores offered a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the perpetrator. Rachel's younger brother, Tyler, gave a tearful interview to a local reporter. "If someone has her, please, just let her come home." Red herrings and misleads. The Woodsman's sighting. October 22nd. A hunter named Glenn Rourke claimed to see a young woman barefoot, moving fast near Goat Creek, about 8 miles north of where the car was found. She didn't look right. Hair wild, clothes torn. I called out, but she disappeared into the trees. Authorities searched the area extensively but found nothing of interest. Some locals dismissed Rourke as a known drinker, but his statement was never formally retracted. The ex-boyfriend angle. Rachel's ex, Ian Greaves, was initially investigated due to their recent breakup. However, he had a solid alibi, working a shift at a local mechanic shop, confirmed by clock-in logs and multiple co-workers. "She was my best friend. I'd never hurt her," Ian said in a statement. He was ruled out within a week. Community theories and rumors. Kalispell is no stranger to folklore, and the mysterious nature of Rachel's disappearance only fueled the town's whispers. Some believed she had planned her disappearance, citing her interest in wilderness survival and spiritual retreats. Others hinted at something more sinister, a local drifter, a rogue hunter, or even the supernatural. One persistent rumor involved a stretch of land near Moose Ridge, privately owned and long rumored to be involved in strange activity. Deputies investigated the area in November, but again, nothing surfaced. The case grows cold. By late December 1998, after nearly 3 months of exhaustive efforts, the active search was scaled back. Volunteers continued to comb the woods periodically through the winter, but by March 1999, snow had buried the trails. No new clues emerged. In March 2000, a new detective, Sandra Holt, assumed responsibility for the cold case review. She would later say, "Everything about the scene was sterile. Like whoever was involved either knew how to cover their tracks, or there was no one else at all." An unanswered question. One item continues to puzzle investigators to this day. When examining the lock cylinder on Rachel's driver's side door, forensics noted subtle scuff marks inconsistent with her keys. Though not definitive, it suggested the possibility that the vehicle had been unlocked and relocked by someone else. But without Rachel's keys or fingerprints beyond her own, it remained just another fragment in a picture missing its center. The forest remained silent. Rachel's Subaru sits in the county impound lot. The trailhead has long since grown over. But the case file #98, KF147RW, is far from closed. There's something about a place that swallows people whole. Some believe it's nature, unforgiving and wild. There's something about a place that swallows people whole. Some believe it's nature, unforgiving and wild. Others think it's something else entirely. Rachel Whitmore disappeared into the Montana wilderness in 1998. What came next were theories, shadows, and silence. It's been over 2 decades since the cold October afternoon when 17-year-old Rachel Whitmore stepped out of her Subaru and into the mist-covered trail near Tally Lake, Montana. She was never seen again. No witnesses, no confirmed sightings, no remains. Despite exhaustive investigations, extensive search efforts, and national media coverage, Rachel's case remains one of Kalispell's most unsettling mysteries. The file, labeled #98 KF147RW, still sits open, collecting dust in a filing cabinet at the Flathead County Sheriff's Office. What lingers now are not answers, but questions and theories. This final part in our series will explore 3 of the most enduring possibilities surrounding Rachel's disappearance, each rooted in available evidence, testimony, and speculation. No resolution, only haunting possibilities. Theory 1, a calculated abduction. From the beginning, law enforcement considered the possibility that Rachel had been taken against her will. While there were no signs of a struggle at the scene, it's important to remember that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Supporting details. Cell signal dead zone. Rachel's phone went dark at 12:17 p.m. after pinging a cell tower just before the turnout off Tally Lake Road. The timing is critical. Experts believe the signal was cut as the phone was either destroyed, turned off, or taken out of range. Missing items. Rachel's phone, hiking boots, and the clothes she was wearing were never found. Only her day pack was left behind, zipped and neatly placed on the passenger seat. Unexplained lock marks. Forensics found minor scuffing on the driver's side lock, possibly from a tool. While inconclusive, it raised eyebrows among investigators, suggesting that someone might have re-entered the car after Rachel was gone. If Rachel had been forcibly taken, it's likely the perpetrator had prior knowledge of the area. The remote nature of Tally Lake makes it an ideal location for someone looking to disappear, or to make someone else disappear. The stranger theory. Some residents speculated that an outsider was responsible, possibly a transit or someone passing through on U.S. Route 2. Kalispell isn't a common stop for tourists in October, but hunters and long-haul truckers still use the back roads. There's a stretch near Goat Creek where nobody goes, said Dale Madsen, former SAR commander. Someone could have camped out there for days without ever being seen. No suspects ever emerged from this lead, but one ranger claimed to have seen a rusted-out van parked deep in the woods a week before the disappearance. By the time authorities checked it out, it was gone. Theory 2, voluntary disappearance. While the idea seems difficult to reconcile for those who knew Rachel, some investigators entertain the theory that she may have left willingly. Supporting details. Transcript requests and counseling visit. Rachel's unexpected visit to her school counselor just hours before her disappearance raised significant concerns. She requested an unofficial transcript and mentioned vaguely that she was applying somewhere else. Personality profile. Friends described Rachel as introspective, bookish, and highly sensitive. She was known to journal often and had once mentioned getting away for a while. Minimal supplies. Her day pack, later found in the car, contained a small journal, a granola bar, and a dog-eared copy of The Secret History. No ID, no cash, and no hiking essentials. These items suggest she may not have been planning a full escape, but perhaps a short, symbolic act of withdrawal, a retreat, a test, one that may have ended tragically. The survivalist theory. A more niche subset of this theory posits that Rachel, who had read books on wilderness living and minimalism, may have attempted to live off the grid, at least temporarily. She used to say society felt too loud, recalled her friend Madison. She always loved the quiet of the woods. But October in northern Montana is no place for a solo experiment. Temperatures dip below freezing at night, and wildlife is active. If Rachel set off into the woods with romantic notions of escape, she may have succumbed to the elements. Still, no remains were ever found. SAR dogs, heat-sensing helicopters, and even drones years later turned up nothing. If she had wandered off and perished, why didn't we find a single trace? Theory 3, something beyond explanation. Investigators rarely give any credence to supernatural elements. But in the world of the unexplained, Kalispell has always been a place where strange stories cling to the trees like moss. The third theory isn't part of the official record, but it lives on in the town's whisper network, in its online forums, and among those who spent time in the woods near Tally Lake. The Kalispell anomaly. Locals speak of the silent stretch, a 5-mile radius near Goat Creek where compasses spin, radios go dead, and hikers report odd time lapses or disorientation. "I walked the same trail I've hunted on for years," said Don Evers, a local hunter. "Swear to God, the birds stopped chirping. I felt watched, turned around and hiked straight out." Could Rachel have walked into one of these zones? A place where logic dissolves and reality thins? Missing time and sightings. In 1999, a woman in Missoula claimed to have seen a girl matching Rachel's description wandering barefoot near a riverbank. The sighting was unconfirmed, and no further evidence supported it. Another report came in 2003 from a former wilderness guide who claimed to have found a torn green sweater tangled in a tree deep in the Flathead National Forest. The fabric was never recovered. Rachel's journal, found in the car, contained one cryptic sentence written the night before her disappearance. "Sometimes the trees speak, but we have to listen in silence." A metaphor or a clue? The lingering silence. What makes Rachel's disappearance so unsettling is not just that it happened, but how it happened. Broad daylight, a familiar trail, a tight-knit community. No struggle, no sound, no witness. One moment she was here, the next gone. Her parents, John and Kathleen Whitmore, have since moved to Idaho. They never gave up hope, though interviews over the years show the wear time on their faces. "It's not knowing," John once said. "If she died, tell me. If she ran, I would like to understand. But this is a wound you can't suture." Case status and current leads. As of 2025, the case remains open but inactive. Detective Sandra Holt retired in 2022, leaving behind a box of notes and theories that now sit in the evidence room, cataloged under our W98 code. A few local podcasters and independent sleuths have kept Rachel's story alive, but no new leads have come forward in years. Every so often, a hiker stumbles across an old shoe, a scrap of fabric, or a piece of plastic in the woods west of Kalispell. But none have ever been linked to Rachel. The trailhead where she was last seen is now overgrown. The wooden marker bearing the trail name, Raven's Path, is cracked and weather-worn. A small memorial cross, adorned with faded artificial flowers and a photograph of Rachel smiling in the sun, still stands quietly beside it. We may never know what truly happened on October 15, 1998. Was Rachel Whitmore the victim of a predator lying in wait? Did she walk away by choice, only to meet nature's cruelty? Or did she slip into something stranger, something the forest itself won't give back? The search may be over. The questions are not. What do you think happened to Rachel Whitmore? Was it a tragic accident, or something far more sinister? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel for more content relating to horrors and missing cases.